Susan Harper smoothed down her navy blue uniform and took a deep breath. Through the massive crystal windows of the waiting room, she could see the 3 moons of Alpha Centauri Prime floating in the purple sky. Even after 6 months as Earth's representative, the sight still amazed her. A soft chime echoed through the chamber. "Earth Representative Harper, the Council awaits," announced a melodic voice. The doors slid open silently, revealing the great chamber of the Galactic Council. Susan walked forward, her footsteps echoing on the polished stone floor. The chamber rose in circles like a giant bowl, with hundreds of seats filled with beings from across the galaxy. Some looked almost human, while others were as different as clouds are from rocks. In her simple Earth uniform, Susan felt every eye in the room studying her. The clothes of the other representatives sparkled with precious metals and glowed with living lights, but she stood tall, remembering that she carried the hopes of 8 billion humans with her. "Representative Harper of Earth," announced High Counselor Zixbita, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. His skin shimmered like oil on water as he spoke. "You come before us today to request full membership in the Galactic Council. This is unusual." Susan heard the whispers start. They weren't trying to be quiet. "Their ships barely reached their own moon," hissed a reptilian being. "They still burn fossil fuels," chittered another. "They've only had spaceflight for 200 years, rumbled a massive creature that looked like a thinking mountain. Zixbita raised a hand for silence. Earth has indeed progressed quickly since joining as an observer nation. However, full membership requires proven advancement in multiple areas. Your species is young, Representative Harper. Many would say too young." Susan stepped forward. She had practiced this speech 100 times. "High Counselor, honored representatives, Earth thanks you for this audience. We understand your concerns. Yes, we are young compared to many species here. But youth brings energy, fresh ideas, and new ways of thinking." "New ways of making war, perhaps," interrupted a tall, silver-skinned being. "Your history is filled with conflict." "Yes," Susan agreed, surprising them with her honesty. "We have fought wars. We have made mistakes, but we have learned from each one. Every conflict taught us the value of peace. Every mistake showed us a better path forward. We don't hide from our past. We build on it." The chamber grew quiet. This wasn't the defensive response they expected. "Pretty words," Zixbeta said, "but words are wind. Earth remains largely unknown to us. You keep many of your developments secret. Your technology levels seem inconsistent. Some areas advance rapidly, while others appear strangely stagnant. This creates uncertainty." Susan felt a bead of sweat roll down her back, but kept her face calm. They were right to be suspicious. Earth had been very careful about what technology they showed the galaxy. Some secrets had to be kept, at least for now. "Perhaps," she said carefully, "Earth could demonstrate its readiness through actions rather than words." The chamber erupted in discussion. This was not how these meetings usually went. Normally, new species spent years proving themselves through careful documentation and gradual revelation of their capabilities. Zixbita leaned forward, suddenly interested. "What kind of demonstration do you propose?" Before Susan could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the chamber. Red lights flashed as a holographic display appeared in the center of the room. "Emergency, emergency," the automated system announced. "Stellar anomaly detected in the Proxima Centauri cluster. 3 inhabited systems at risk. Class 10 emergency declared." The chamber exploded into chaos. A Class 10 emergency meant potential extinction-level events for multiple worlds. As the council members shouted and argued, Susan Harper stood quietly, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Sometimes the universe had perfect timing. Earth had been waiting for a chance to prove itself. She stepped forward again. "Honorable Council," she said, her voice cutting through the noise. "Perhaps Earth could assist with this situation." The chamber fell silent. Then laughter erupted from several sections. "You, A bird like being trilled. What could Earth possibly do about a stellar emergency? Susan's smile grew just a little wider. You might be surprised. High Counselor Zixbeda's 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the data floating in the chamber's central display. The numbers weren't good. 3 star systems, 15 inhabited planets, and over 30 billion lives were at risk. The star in the Proxima Centauri cluster is becoming unstable, explained Chief Scientist Krell, his tentacles waving as he pointed to different parts of the hologram. Our calculations show it will go supernova within 6 standard months. The resulting explosion will destroy everything within 12 light years. Susan Harper listened carefully, her face showing proper concern. Inside, though, her mind was already running through Earth's options. This was exactly the kind of situation they had prepared for. Evacuation would take at least 2 years with our fastest ships, a gray-skinned representative said, their voice filled with despair. We don't have enough time. Perhaps, Zixbeda said slowly, all 4 eyes now fixed on Susan. Our eager friends from Earth have a solution. The chamber grew quiet. Every alien turned to look at the human representative. Susan stood up straight. Earth would be honored to help. However, we would need full access to the affected systems and complete cooperation from the Council. Laughter echoed through the chamber again, but this time it had a harsh edge. You can't be serious, the bird-like being from before squawked. Your ships can barely reach your own solar system's edge. How could you possibly help? Zixbeda raised a hand for silence. Representative Harper, are you suggesting that Earth has technology that could prevent a supernova? I am suggesting, Susan said carefully, that Earth would like the chance to try. The Council erupted in argument. Some called it a joke. Others wondered if the humans were crazy. A few suggested it might be worth letting Earth try, if only to teach them humility. Zixbeda suddenly slammed his hand down on his podium. The sound echoed through the chamber like thunder. Very well, he said. Let us make this official. He stood up, his crystalline robes catching the light. Earth Representative Harper, your species seeks full council membership. You claim to have solutions that our combined civilizations, with millions of years of advancement, cannot provide. Susan nodded, keeping her face neutral. Then here is your challenge, Zixbeda continued. Save these systems. Stop the supernova. You have 1 standard cycle, 6 Earth months. If you succeed, Earth will be granted immediate full membership in the Council, with all rights and privileges. If you fail, he paused, his eyes glowing. Earth will be relegated to permanent observer status. You will never be eligible for full membership. Gasps filled the chamber. This was unprecedented. No species had ever been given such a challenge, or such a punishment for failure. Susan didn't hesitate. Earth accepts these terms. You would risk your species' future on this? Krell asked, his tentacles twisting in confusion. We would risk it to save 30 billion lives, Susan corrected him. She turned to face the whole Council. Earth requests immediate access to all data about the affected star and permission to begin operations within 24 hours. Granted, Zixbeda said. But know this, Representative Harper. The Council will be watching every move Earth makes. Any sign of deception, any hint that you are not taking this seriously, and the challenge ends immediately. Susan bowed slightly. Understood, High Counselor. If you'll excuse me, I need to contact Earth immediately. We have work to do. As she walked out of the chamber, the whispers followed her. Most thought Earth was foolish. Some thought they were crazy. A few wondered if maybe, just maybe, the humans knew something they didn't. In a private communication room, Susan activated her quantum communicator, a device the Council thought was just a standard faster-than-light radio. Dr. Robert Mills's face appeared instantly on the screen. Did it work? He asked without preamble. Susan smiled. Perfectly. They took the bait. How long until the Hope is ready? Final tests are completing now. We can launch in 18 hours. Good. Susan looked back toward the Council chamber. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. As she ended the call, Susan thought about the looks on the council members' faces when they realized Earth had been hiding its true capabilities all along. It would be quite a show. The game was on, and Earth was about to change the rules. Dr. Robert Mills stood in the massive underground facility beneath the Nevada desert, watching dozens of engineers and scientists rush around the U.S. Hope. The ship filled the enormous cavern, its silver hull gleaming under the bright lights. Most people thought Area 51 was just a myth. If they could see this, they wouldn't believe their eyes. "Status report," he called out, checking his tablet. "Main engines are at 98% efficiency," said Chief Engineer David Wilson, his voice echoing from somewhere inside the ship. He climbed down a ladder, his gray jumpsuit covered in grease. "The artificial gravity cores are stable, and the quantum field generators are running perfectly." Robert nodded. They had spent 20 years building the ship in secret. Now they would finally show it to the galaxy. "Dr. Mills." A young scientist ran up, holding a datapad. "Message from Captain Chen. She'll be here in 10 minutes. Right on time." Robert straightened his lab coat and headed to the briefing room. As he walked, he passed walls filled with equations and designs that would make the council's best scientists scratch their heads in confusion. The briefing room was already full when he arrived. Engineers, physicists, and military personnel sat around the large table. On one wall, a screen showed Susan Harper's face, broadcasting live from the council station. "The council bought it completely," Susan reported. "They think we're either crazy or stupid. Some of them are actually feeling sorry for us." Robert couldn't help smiling. They won't feel sorry for long. The door opened, and Captain Lisa Chen walked in. Everyone stood up. She was young for a captain, only 35, but her record was perfect. More importantly, she understood the Hope's systems better than anyone except Robert himself. "At ease," she said, taking her seat. "Dr. Mills, tell me we're ready." Robert brought up a hologram of the Hope. "The ship is fully operational. All systems are green. We've loaded enough supplies for a 6-month mission, though we shouldn't need that long." "The quantum cores?" Lisa asked. "Stable. We can make the jump to Proxima Centauri in less than an hour." Robert paused. "The council thinks it takes weeks to travel that far. They're going to be surprised." Lisa nodded. "And the containment system?" Robert switched the hologram to show the ship's main weapon, though they didn't call it that. "The quantum field manipulator is ready. We've run every possible simulation. It will work." "It better," Susan said from the screen. "We've got 30 billion lives counting on us." "What about the crew?" Lisa asked. David Wilson spoke up. "All personnel are aboard except for the command team. We're just waiting for your order, Captain." Lisa stood up and looked around the room. "I know we've trained for this. We've spent years preparing. But what we're about to do has never been done before. We're not just going to save 3 star systems. We're going to change how the entire galaxy sees humanity." She paused, making eye contact with each person. "If anyone wants to back out, now's the time." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They were ready. "Good." Lisa smiled. "Dr. Mills, begin launch sequence. Mr. Wilson, get the engines hot. We lift off in 30 minutes." The room burst into activity. Robert watched as his team ran to their stations. 20 years of work, all leading to this moment. Inside the ship, crews strapped in. Engineers ran final checks. Medical teams secured their equipment. In the engine room, David Wilson's team watched as the quantum cores powered up, their blue light pulsing like heartbeats. "Launch control, this is Captain Chen." Lisa's voice came over the speakers. "Begin surface clearing sequence." A mile above them, tourists taking pictures of the desert suddenly found their cameras not working. Their cars wouldn't start. They quickly left the area, never knowing that far below, history was about to be made. The massive cavern's ceiling began to open, revealing the night sky above. The Hope's engines hummed louder, lifting the huge ship off its supports. "All hands," Lisa announced. "This is your captain speaking. In 5 minutes we launch. In 1 hour, we reach Proxima Centauri. In 1 day, we save 30 billion lives. And in 1 week, we show the galaxy that humanity is ready for the stars." The Hope rose slowly at first, then faster, breaking through Earth's atmosphere like a silver arrow. On the council station, Susan Harper watched on her private screen and smiled. The show was about to begin. The U.S. Hope shot through space like a silver bullet. Inside the ship's main bridge, Captain Lisa Chen sat in her command chair, watching the stars streak by. The ship moved faster than any council vessel could dream of traveling. "Status report," she called out. "Quantum drive running at full power," Maria Rodriguez answered from her navigation station. Her fingers danced over the glowing controls. "We're moving at speeds the council thinks are impossible." David Wilson's voice came through the speakers from the engine room. "The cores are humming like kittens, Captain. You should see their faces when we tell them we have 3 of them." Lisa allowed herself a small smile. The council's best ships used a single power core. The Hope had 3, working together in ways the aliens hadn't even thought of yet. "Message from Earth," the communication officer said. "Susan reports the council is trying to track us. Their sensors can't make sense of what they're seeing." "Good," Lisa said. "Let them wonder." The bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. Through the main window, they could see space itself bend around the ship. The Hope didn't just travel through space. It moved space itself. "Approaching Proxima Centauri," Maria announced. "The dying star is ahead." The main screen showed their target. The star looked angry, with huge flares shooting out from its surface. Around it, they could see the inhabited planets. Millions of people lived on those worlds, not knowing if they would survive. "Take us in closer," Lisa ordered. "Let's get a good look at what we're dealing with." The Hope moved smoothly toward the star. Its special shields, another Earth secret, kept them safe from the intense heat and radiation. "Captain," David called from engineering, "you should see this." His face appeared on a side screen. Behind him, the 3 quantum cores pulsed with blue light. The cores are reacting to the star. They're already starting to sync up. Dr. Mills joined him on the screen. "Just as we predicted. The quantum field is already forming. We can do this." Lisa nodded. "Begin power-up sequence for the quantum field manipulator." Alerts sounded through the ship as the crew prepared their biggest surprise. Hidden panels on the Hope's hull slid open, revealing massive devices that looked like satellite dishes made of pure light. "Council ships detected," Maria reported. 3 vessels approaching. "They're hailing us." On screen, Lisa ordered. An alien face appeared, one of the Council's emergency response commanders. His eyes widened when he saw humans on the bridge. "This is a restricted zone," he said. "Your vessel is not." He stopped, staring at something off-screen. "That's impossible. Your ship's energy readings, they're higher than anything we've ever seen." "This is Captain Lisa Chen of the U.S. Hope," Lisa responded calmly. "We're here under Council authority to address the stellar emergency. Please maintain safe distance. We're about to begin our operation." "Operation?" The alien commander looked confused. "What could you possibly do against a dying star?" Lisa turned to her crew. "Show them." The quantum field manipulator powered up. Beautiful patterns of light spread out from the Hope, surrounding the ship in a web of energy. The Council ship's sensors must have been going crazy. "Energy field at 60% and rising," David reported. "Cores are synchronized. Field is stable." The alien commander was shouting now. "What technology is this? How do you have this level of power generation?" "Sorry," Lisa said with a small smile. "Trade secret. Now, please stand back. We have work to do." She turned off the communication. The Council ships backed away, their sensors recording everything. Field at 90%, David called out. Ready on your order, Captain. Lisa stood up from her chair. This was the moment Earth had been waiting for. Years of hiding their true technology, of letting the galaxy think they were far behind. It all led to this. Begin containment sequence, she ordered. The Hope's quantum field expanded, reaching out toward the dying star. Light and energy danced between the ship and the star like a bridge made of rainbows. Field is connecting, Dr. Mills reported excitedly. The star's energy patterns are responding exactly as predicted. We've got it. On the Council ships, aliens watched in amazement as a single Earth vessel did what their combined civilizations had thought impossible. They were about to learn that humanity had been holding back, waiting for the right moment to show their true power. The age of hiding was over. The real Earth was about to be revealed. The U.S. Hope shuddered as it channeled enormous amounts of energy. The quantum field connecting the ship to the dying star glowed like a river of light. Status report. Captain Lisa Chen called out, gripping her chair as the ship trembled. Core temperatures rising. David Wilson's voice crackled through the speakers. He was in engineering, working to keep the 3 quantum cores stable. We're at 85% capacity and climbing. Dr. Mills studied the readings on his screen. The star's outer layers are becoming more unstable. We need to act fast. Through the main window, they could see the star's surface boiling with massive solar flares. Each flare was big enough to swallow Earth whole. The 3 Council ships watched from a safe distance, their sensors recording everything. Maria, adjust our position, Lisa ordered. We need to be exactly 3,000 kilometers closer. Maria Rodriguez nodded, her hands steady on the controls despite the ship shaking. Moving us in, Captain. But the star's gravity is fighting us. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Red alerts sounded from several stations. Core 2 is starting to overheat. David shouted from engineering. The cooling systems can't keep up. Lisa pressed a button on her chair. All hands, this is your captain. Emergency stations. I repeat, emergency stations. Crews ran through the ship's corridors, rushing to where they were needed most. In engineering, David and his team worked frantically to prevent a core meltdown. Rerouting power from Core 2 to Cores 1 and 3, David reported. Sweat dripped from his forehead as he worked. It's not enough. We need more cooling. Dr. Mills suddenly jumped up. The quantum field. We can use it to help cool the cores. That's not what it was designed for, Maria protested. No, Lisa said, understanding. But it could work. David, prepare to adjust the field harmonics on my mark. The ship groaned as they pushed it to its limits. On the Council ships, aliens watched in amazement as the Hope's energy readings went higher than anything they had ever seen. Field harmonics ready, David called. Do it, Lisa ordered. The quantum field shifted, its color changing from blue to purple. Inside the ship, the temperature began to drop. It's working, David shouted. Core temperatures falling back to safe levels. But their problems weren't over. The star sent out another massive flare, larger than the others. The Hope's shields lit up as they took the hit. Shields at 60%. The security officer reported. Another hit like that, and we're in trouble. Lisa stood up from her chair. We're not giving up. Not when we're this close. David, give me everything the cores have got. Maria, take us in closer. Dr. Mills, prepare the final containment sequence. The Hope moved forward, fighting against the star's gravity. The quantum field grew stronger, brighter, reaching deeper into the star's atmosphere. Message from the Council ships, the communication officer reported. They're offering to help. Lisa shook her head. Tell them to maintain their distance. We got this. The ship's hull creaked under the strain. Warning lights flashed everywhere. But the crew of the Hope didn't give up. They had trained for this. They had prepared for this moment. Field stability at maximum, Dr. Mills announced. The star's energy patterns are starting to sync with our containment matrix. Cores holding steady, David added. Whatever you're going to do, Captain, do it now. Lisa took a deep breath. This was the moment that would change everything. Success would save billions of lives and prove Earth's worth to the galaxy. Failure meant death for everyone on board and disaster for 3 star systems. Initiate final containment sequence, she ordered. Let's show the galaxy what humanity can really do. The Hope's quantum field pulsed one final time, pushing its energy deep into the dying star. The bridge crew watched, holding their breath, as their years of preparation and secret technology were put to the ultimate test. The fate of billions hung in the balance, and Earth's true place in the galaxy would be decided in the next few moments. The great chamber of the Galactic Council was in chaos. On the massive display screens, they watched as the U.S. Hope battled with the dying star. "Impossible," shouted one of the council scientists. "Their energy readings are beyond anything we thought possible." High Counselor Zixbeta stood silent, all 4 eyes fixed on the screens. Beside him, Susan Harper maintained a calm smile. "How long has Earth had this technology?" he asked quietly. "Long enough," she answered. "We wanted to be sure we were ready." On another screen, they could see the council ships broadcasting live footage. The Hope hung in space, surrounded by its quantum field. The dying star's surface churned and boiled beneath it. "The containment field is working." Captain Lisa Chen's voice came through the speakers. "Dr. Mills, status report." "Star's core is stabilizing," Mills replied. "The quantum field is pulling the excess energy away. Temperature dropping." The council chamber grew quiet as they watched. None of them had ever seen anything like this. Their most advanced ships couldn't even get close to a dying star, let alone affect it. "Core 3 is at maximum," David Wilson called out, channeling the star's energy through the quantum matrix. The Hope's field glowed brighter, becoming almost too bright to look at. The star's violent surface began to calm. Where there had been massive solar flares, now there was relative peace. "It's working," someone in the chamber whispered. "They're actually doing it." Susan straightened her uniform. "High Counselor, I believe now would be a good time to call for that emergency session you mentioned." Zixbeta nodded slowly. Yes, it would. He pressed a button, and alarms sounded throughout the station. "All council members, emergency session beginning in 1 hour." Back at the star, the Hope's crew worked with perfect precision. Years of secret training were paying off. "Final phase beginning," Lisa announced. "Stand by for energy conversion." The quantum field pulsed, and something amazing happened. The star's excess energy began flowing into the field, being converted into harmless radiation that dispersed into space. "Core temperature's normal," David reported. "The conversion is stable." Dr. Mills checked his readings again and again. "Captain, we did it. The star is stable. It's going to live." Cheers erupted on the Hope's bridge. In the council chamber, the alien representatives stared in stunned silence. "Message from the council observation ships," Maria said. They're applauding, Captain." Lisa allowed herself to smile. "Send a message to Earth. Tell them Operation Sunrise is complete. The star is saved." In the council chamber, representatives began talking all at once. Some demanded to know how Earth had kept this technology secret. Others wanted to start trade negotiations immediately. A few just sat there, still trying to process what they had seen. "Order," Zixbeta called out. "We will address all questions in the emergency session." He turned to Susan. "I believe Earth has more than met the challenge." Susan nodded. "Earth appreciates the Council's faith in us." Captain Chen and the Hope will return to the station shortly to provide a full report. "A report?" A reptilian representative laughed. "You've just done what our combined civilizations thought impossible. I think that deserves more than a report." "Indeed," Zixbeta agreed. "Representative Harper, I believe we owe Earth an apology. We severely underestimated your species." "No apology needed, High Counselor," Susan replied. "Earth understood why you were cautious. It's why we waited to reveal our true capabilities. We wanted to show you through actions, not words. As the council members filed out to prepare for the emergency session, Zixbeta held Susan back. "Tell me," he said quietly, "what else is Earth capable of that we don't know about?" Susan's smile widened just a little. "High Counselor, saving that star. That was just the beginning. Earth is ready to help build a better galaxy, if you'll have us." Above the now peaceful star, the Hope began its journey back to the council station. Inside, the crew celebrated their success. They had saved billions of lives and changed humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The age of hiding was over. Earth was ready to take its place among the stars. The U.S. Hope docked at the council station with perfect precision. Through the station's windows, its silver hull gleamed in the starlight. Hundreds of aliens gathered to watch, pointing and whispering about the ship that had done the impossible. Captain Lisa Chen stood in the entrance of the Great Chamber, wearing her formal Earth uniform. Behind her stood Dr. Mills and David Wilson. All three looked tired but proud. "Captain Chen of Earth," High Counselor Zixbeta announced. "You and your crew may enter." The chamber was more crowded than ever. Every representative from every species had come to see this moment. As Lisa walked to the center of the floor, no one made a sound. Even the usually chatty species were quiet. 3 days ago, Zixbeta began, Earth accepted an impossible challenge. You were given 6 months to save 3 star systems. You did it in less than 1 day. Lisa stood straight and calm. "We had good motivation, High Counselor. 30 billion lives were at stake." "Indeed." Zixbeta's 4 eyes blinked, "but that's not why everyone is here today. They want to know how. How did Earth develop such advanced technology without anyone knowing?" Lisa looked around the chamber. "The answer is simple. Earth learned long ago that having power isn't enough. You need the wisdom to use it properly." She pressed a button on her wrist device. A hologram appeared, showing the Hope's quantum cores and field generators. "Everything we used to save the star, we developed over decades," she explained. "But we didn't rush to show it off. We wanted to be sure we could use it responsibly." Dr. Mills stepped forward. "The quantum field technology alone took 20 years to perfect. We could have used it for weapons, for conquest. Instead, we waited until we could use it to save lives." The chamber remained silent, but now it was a different kind of silence. Not shock, but understanding. "And the 3 quantum cores?" asked a council scientist. "Our best ships can barely handle one." David Wilson smiled. "That was my team's work. Took us 15 years to figure out how to make them work together. Lost a lot of sleep over that one." Quiet laughter rippled through the chamber. These humans talked about incredible achievements like they were everyday things. Zixbeta stood up. "Captain Chen, Dr. Mills, Engineer Wilson, you and your crew have done more than save 3 star systems. You have shown us that we, the Council, still have much to learn." He pressed a button, and a formal document appeared in the air. By unanimous decision of the Galactic Council, Earth is granted full membership status, effective immediately. All trade restrictions are lifted. All technology sharing protocols are authorized. Susan Harper walked in, carrying a small box. She handed it to Lisa with a smile. Lisa opened it and pulled out a simple silver pin, the mark of a full council member world. "Thank you, High Counselor," Lisa said. "Earth accepts this honor with gratitude and responsibility. We look forward to working with all species to build a better galaxy." As she pinned the symbol to her uniform, the silence finally broke. The chamber erupted in applause and cheers. Even species that normally showed no emotion joined in. "One last question, Captain," Zixbeta said when the noise died down. "What other surprises does Earth have waiting?" Lisa shared a knowing look with her crew. "High Counselor, the quantum cores and field generators. Those were just the start. Earth has been busy, very busy." The chamber grew quiet again. "But that's a discussion for another day," she continued with a smile. Right now, I believe we have some celebrating to do. After all, it's not every day that humanity reveals itself to the galaxy. As the formal ceremony ended and the celebration began, aliens crowded around the Earth team, asking questions and offering congratulations. In one corner, Susan Harper stood watching with satisfaction. A junior council member approached her. "Was this your plan all along? To wait for the perfect moment?" Susan's smile widened just a bit. The best way to make an entrance is to wait for the right time. Earth is patient. We knew our moment would come. Outside the station windows, the U.S. Hope waited quietly, its silver hull hiding more secrets still to be revealed. Earth had shown the galaxy a glimpse of its true power, but there was much more to come. The silence was broken. The hiding was over. Humanity's true journey among the stars was just beginning.